Over the last few films, we've been discussing just Albania, and so for any of you guys that have been inspired to travel to this country, we just wanted to go over some of the expenses and costs and what you need to think about when you're budgeting if you're going to Albania.
去阿尔巴尼亚旅行到底贵不贵呢？我们会从交通、住宿、食物这几个方面去简单的分享一下我们的经历。
First of all, let's go into the accommodation. Our budget the entire time we were there was 17 euros per day. But there's only a couple of times when we actually hit that budget. The rest of the time it was below that. And that's 17 euros for both of us. We would always be able to negotiate the price down if we were staying for like 4 or 5 nights. So the longer you stay, you can definitely get a better deal.
这个是我们在 Bayrat 民宿。本来我们以为是一个大床房，然后竟然是2个小床，但是没有关系，因为它给我们的价格降低了一点点，像家一样。这家本来是17欧元1个晚上，但是因为我们决定要多住几个晚上，连住6个晚上，所以给我们便宜了点。 14欧元。
For that price point, in Europe especially, like it's really good. Albania is one of the cheapest places in Eastern Europe for sure.
This is our room. It's for 3 people obviously, but it suits us just fine. Fridge, cooker, shower in there, and it all cost us 15 euros for both of us per night, so it's pretty good, really.
哎呀，今晚房间。
Oh wow, that is so cool.
Yes. 如果是一个人单独旅行的话，可以住青年旅社。公共浴室和卫生间。但是我们算过一笔账，如果我们2个人租2个床位的话，其实加起来那个钱已经超过17欧元了，所以不划算。
One thing we found that was kind of unique to Albania is that a lot of the places they weren't set up to receive money online, and I think this is because the local currency is lek. Even in the areas around Albania, we couldn't change the local currency into lek and vice versa. You had to be inside Albania to get their local currency. And I would advise it because if you pay in euros, you end up just paying a little bit more for everything from like food to accommodation. So it's worth doing. Okay, so that's accommodation. And the next thing we wanted to talk about really is the food.
我觉得阿尔巴尼亚好吃的东西是什么呢？就是又好吃又便宜的是什么呢？就是面包、pasta， 还有橄榄油，还有橄榄，还有沙拉，这些就是健康、好吃、饱腹的。我们也是经常吃这些东西。就如果我们在饭店吃的话，如果你不是天天去吃那种 fancy restaurant 去点那种大餐，基本的这些其实花不了多少钱的，
Yeah.
不是特别贵。
Yeah, it's really good.
他们的橄榄油和橄榄真的超级好，又便宜又好吃。
The salads are definitely the most economical option. They get you full with the bread that's always free. Between like 200 and 400 lek. But if you want to order like a big meaty or fishy meal, it's much more expensive. So that's something to consider. And also the desserts are incredible. There's such a like huge dessert culture. So many different like mousses and tiramisus.
Enjoy.
有很多是那种就是它带很多糖浆的那种，比如说外表看起来像蛋糕，像那种东西，就是很甜很甜的，然后它泡在糖浆里面。还有泡在牛奶里边的，就是把蛋糕泡在牛奶里面。他说底子的时候非常 passion， 其实我没有这个感觉，是因为英国人所以英国人去阿尔巴尼亚吃甜点嘛，中国人应该没有那么感兴趣。哦，还有他们的咖啡。
Oh yeah, yeah, because it's mostly a Muslim country, people don't drink beer really. In some places, especially tourist places, you'll find people drinking alcohol, but the go-to thing to do is like go to a cafe and have a little espresso coffee. And you can find those shops everywhere, and they don't even sell food, they just sell espresso coffees. If you pay more than like 70 or 80 lek for an espresso, you know you're in the tourist prices. And the whole time we were in Albania, we were watching different fruits grow, and especially the grapes. When we first got there, the little leaves were just starting to grow, and by the time we left, they were almost ripe. We never got to try the grapes, but there's so much fruit and veg that grows in Albania. It's definitely still like a farming country, which is really great because it means you can get seasonal fruits really, really cheap. We ate the cheapest cherries and strawberries of my life in Albania.
每天我可以吃1斤。
There was a phase where like Ella would go to the shop and come back with 2 like boxes of strawberries.
这个还不算特别夸张，最夸张的就是他们的 cherries，10块钱你可以买多少呢？你可以买3斤4斤，你根本都吃不完。所以我们天天吃，后来我都吃腻了。我竟然把车厘子吃腻了，我觉得不可思议。哎呀，为什么这么幸运？
And the last thing that we wanted to talk about was the travel in Albania. It's a little bit odd compared to other countries. Even in some of the big cities, it can be difficult to get transport to other big cities. When we first arrived in Shkodër from Montenegro, there was no bus linking the two countries. And when we left Albania and went to Macedonia, there was no bus linking the two countries. We had to get a taxi across the border. So that gives you an idea of like the difficulty for transportation there. But even inside the country, for example, from Shkodër, there was only a transport link to the capital, Tirana. There was no other buses to other places. So it takes a long time to get around by bus, and you really have to kind of plan ahead. Sometimes the buses leave really early, like 5 or 6 a.m, and they might be the only bus until like 1 p.m. But also the bus drivers are really, really helpful. There was one time the bus driver called up another minibus driver and said, we've got 2 guys that want to go to this place, can you help us sort them out, blah, 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 blah. And they ended up waiting for us, like the second minibus was waiting for us, and we drove to like some random crossroads on the motorway and swapped buses, and then they drove us around. You just gotta assume that you can travel to the closest nearest city, and beyond that, possibly not. So you can expect to pay like probably 1,500 to 2,000 lek for like a 4 or 5 hour journey. An hour journey, maybe between 400 and 700 lek.
如果想去欧洲旅行，但是又不知道从哪儿开始，而且经济条件又不是特别允许的话，那阿尔巴尼亚应该是一个不错的开始。想要知道更多信息更多好玩的地方，去看看我们之前的关于阿尔巴尼亚的视频。
Yeah, do it. See you next time.